sounds like a ghost that somehow knows. Drag and drop the future straight into a canvas app. AI shows the schema, and we call that magic in a tab. 2025 is ticking down, the countdown neon bright. We're debugging destiny under fluorescent office light. Forever Shane Young, isn't it strange? Young, the local dream grows, and we just press run. Forever Shane Young, it's a shame, son, if you blink you'll miss the revolution. Power automates, spins, flows like a watchtower of gears. Every trigger is a tiny messenger, erasing all our fears. Copilot writes expressions like a poet with a plan, and every button press feels like a brand new world began. We're not just building apps, we're bending time. The AI sees intention between the lines. Forever Shane Young, isn't it strange? Young, the local dream grows, and we just press run. Forever Shane Young, it's a shame, son, if you blink you'll miss the revolution. Countdown on the broadcast, hands of the clock are thin. 5 p.m. in Europe, but the future logs you in. 42 NATO on the stream, we hold the door wide open. Templates in the cloud, and the future is the token. Forever Shane Young, we stay amazed, young. Our power apps fly, and we don't need lungs. Forever Shane Young, it's a shame, son, we're building futures with a single function.
Wonderful, wonderful. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see you all again. Well, most of you, not the guys that are listening actively. Welcome to the background. Welcome to the M365 Show. I'm Fortu, or Fortunado, depending on the song you are listening, joined by my wonderful co-hosts, Isabel and Marcel. Hello. And in the background, like always, Dobby or Mirko. Today we are exploring one of the hottest topics in tech, how AI is transforming the Power Platform. Welcome, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Welcome. That's right. So who's better to guide us than our special guest, Shane Young, Microsoft MVP, Power Apps legend, and a true pioneer when it comes to low-code and AI integration. Shane, we're so excited to have you today.
Thank you for bringing me on, and thank you for that intro song. It's been a hot minute since there's been a Ford Tornado and Shane Young collaboration on a music video like that. So I'm at a loss for words.
It's ever been interesting if you hear a new song from Mirko. Welcome Shane to our show. But before we dive into details, tell us a little journey about tell us about your journey, about your passion. What excites you most about Microsoft AI Vision on Power Platform?
Yeah, right. So I've been a Microsoft MVP for 20 years. So at this point, I'd like to claim that I started when I was like 10 years old because I don't want to admit how old I must be if I've been doing this for 20 years. Kind of started with the whole SharePoint world, right? So I wrote 6 books on SharePoint back in the day, did a bunch of that, went from SharePoint to PowerShell, had a little fun with some PowerShell for a hot minute, and that wasn't really going to be my long-term jam. And then I got into Power Apps. I kind of tripped over a whole Power Apps thing. I started that before really anyone else did. And so, started making the YouTube content before documentation existed to help the world embrace that. Power Apps led to Power Automate, right? Because they kind of go really hand in hand to do anything productive. And then once you kind of got through that, now here in the last, I don't even know, year and a half, 2 years, so like, hey, this thing Copilot. I don't know if you guys have heard, Microsoft has an AI tool called Copilot. They might mention that a little bit. And so I've been trying to help lead this charge into, low code and no code is very empowering. Low code and no code plus AI just brings it all to another level and really empowers anyone and everyone to really start building awesome stuff. And I want to help people build awesome stuff.
That's fantastic. Thank you for your background and intro. I did not know you've been doing this for 20 some years. So congrats.
Congrats on being old, right?
Yeah, but you started with 10, so it's okay.
Poor Tornado over there, right? That is officially your name forever. Poor Tornado is he's on point there. I also, sorry, I'm going to interrupt for a second and give a shout out as well. Yes, personal stuff, and I didn't answer that. Taking my kids to soccer, and my oldest son last night won their state semifinal, and so they play in the state finals on Sunday. So I'm super excited for state final soccer on Sunday. Yeah, right. It's pretty cool.
And it's the correct sport. It's soccer. Great.
Yes. Well, I was going to say football for you guys, but then I realized that half the people make what the heck's so,
as long as we are talking about the same sport and the good one, so it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, right. There's a little soccer ball. Right?
For the Germans, the good one. Yeah.
And the Italians. The other guys.
Well, that was a good shout out. Do you want to shout out your son's name?
It's Grant. So yeah, he will be very excited to hear, like every good kid, right? He wants to be a YouTube celebrity, and I don't know about that.
Just like his dad.
Yes.
All right. Do we have a sponsor today?
Yes, the sponsor today is the M365 Con. So we are working on a conference based on our show, and in the next days I will invite some good friends stays on our show, and I hope we will have a good conference in the 2nd and 3rd week in January. But at the end we have a short video where we show what we want to do.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's get started with Power Apps. So natural language app building with Copilot has been a real game changer. Shane, what is your perspective on this?
Yeah, I've been a huge fan, obviously, of the whole low code, no code thing since it started, right? Because it empowers people to go and build and solve their own things. And now that Microsoft is sprinkling AI into it anywhere and everywhere, 2 things are happening, right? One is that as the low code, no code maker, right, it's lowering the barrier to entry. So it's easier for people to get started. It's easier for people to learn to build their own apps and to troubleshoot and take their apps further. That's super cool. But the other half of it, I think, is even cooler, is that it'll be real easy for AI to kind of be out of the reach of the citizen developer, the maker, right? Like they'd be like, oh, I've heard about all this really cool, ideas around vibe coding or AI prompts or, in working with AI, but there's no way to do it. And so Microsoft has done a great job of making it so that, the Power Platform, whether it's Power Apps, Power Automate, or Copilot Studio, is letting non-professional nerds, right, really get to embrace and do things with AI that might not have been possible for them to do with AI if there wasn't that low entry point in there. So I think that's really cool about it.
Awesome. And beyond all of this, beyond app generation, we've seen AI-powered form creations, data modeling, even contextual AI. in your mind and your opinion, how does this reshape the role of citizen developers in general?
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting one, because in reality, what we want for the citizen developers is for them to never have to say the words data modeling, right? We don't want them to ever have to think about any of this. And so, for example, like we'll talk about it later, but like the new app builder agent from as part of M365 Copilot, like you just say, hey, I need an app to track all the podcasts that I'm on. Good luck for that. And and it just spits out the app, and it creates a day. It looks at what you want, and it says, okay, to support his request, here is the data that needs to go underneath the hood. And then it goes and it creates the data model, it creates the columns, it creates the data source, it puts it all together, and it wires it all up. So as a citizen developer, I don't even have to ask the question, what is my data model? It just works. And I think that's exactly what we want for our citizen developers. Is they should never say, data normalization. Like, who the heck knows what data normalization is?
Yeah, I think that is very cool, but I also see the dangers of this, right? What if I am a business user, I want to create this app, and out of nowhere I have all these tables now, then they don't know about Dataverse, they don't know about the security roles. They would be like, okay, I'm updated this, and nobody can see any rows of data or even see this table. How would you go about that? About any governance or any guardrails?
Yeah, I think that's Isabel, you're spot on, right? That is one of the things that is going to be the challenge in this world as it sits today, right? Like, as all of a sudden people are just able to start pounding out apps. These apps are spinning up data sources, and it's somewhere in the nether. I don't have to worry about where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a valid thing to think about. Me personally, I've always been I know this is not the corporate IT answer, right? But like, let's just start building. Let's start getting this going, and let's start to poke holes and make, all right, we're having challenges here. Let's start wrapping our heads around this stuff. And while that's not always the best answer, like, the thing that I think a lot of IT governance type of people forget is that in their standard organization today, what percentage of that business is ran on Excel workbooks that they have no idea about, right? I mean, it is the number of Excel workbooks that are out in the business today that someone spun up, that they then shared with a colleague, that the three of them now are updating, that's processing, $1 billion a year in data. Like, that happens all over the place. So for me personally, a lot of these, AI generated personal productivity apps, even if they become a little bit more than that, it's the same thing. I didn't govern people building Excel spreadsheets. I didn't govern people building Access. Probably should have. I don't think that governing these personal productivity apps is the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
In the traditional sense of governing, right? What I think is important for this is, if as corporate IT, if you said, okay, we've got great DLP policies, we're monitoring, if we're managing and we're doing our jobs, then Susie in accounting should be able to spin up a personal productivity app. And I should not be worried about, our corporate secrets going out the window. But instead, right, a lot of times the corporate IT answer is, well, I'm just not going to let Susie build an app. I don't think that's the right answer.
I agree.
I saw a post of one of our last guests. This was Sean Ashrican. He posted Power Platform in 2030. And whereas, I would say, an main stomach issue on my side, and this is a Canvas app. And I know you grow up with Canvas app too. A lot of your post was about Canvas app. And if I see here, for example, the generative pages, and it based ever been on Dataverse, and I know a lot of people works with SharePoint. I see here a gap. So, and I know Microsoft want to be more Dataverse consumption, but if we take a look into the future, do you see in the future an better integration? And I see it's nearly the same in Copilot Studio. The integration of SharePoint is really poor there. Do you see in the future a better integration of SharePoint, or would be said, okay, Microsoft, we only will be focusing on Dataverse? So this is an interesting question, I think.
Man, Marcel coming with the question with knives out, right? Like that's a dicey topic right there. I'm gonna do my best. All right, so I think there's a few things to consider in that question, Marcel. Right? So you're absolutely right. Generative Pages today is only in model-driven apps. Model-driven apps are only Dataverse. Generative Pages are only there. But if you go look at the new App Builder agent in M365 Copilot, right, which is also generating something very similar to Generative Pages, right? It's the same platform, it's the same framework. It's a child of all that. That actually behind the scenes is spinning up SharePoint, right? So that is not on Dataverse, right? Because it's inside the M365 license, they couldn't take the Dataverse dependency, so they went with SharePoint. So they're embracing it there. So that tells me that there's no major hurdles for them embracing it over in the in Generative Pages at some point. Or if you look at, so last week at the conference, they announced that they're, the plan designer that's inside of Power Apps today is going to take a very big evolution here sooner than later. Some people that might have access to it already. I don't know if that's true or not, but that one does today spin everything up in Dataverse, to your point. But what their roadmap is for it using other data sources, they haven't figured out the roadmap yet, let alone publicly share it. So it's hard to say, but I don't think it's a stretch. The other thing that I think you should keep in mind is, so I've had talks with, I forget his exact role, right? But the top of the SharePoint engineering food chain, right? And so talking to him a little bit about AI, like one of the goals of the SharePoint team is to be the best place in the world to store SharePoint documents, to store documents for use by AI tools, right? And so in my Copilot Studio training class, when I teach about Copilot Studio, we talk about knowledge. From my testing, the best place to put something, if you want the agent to be able to use it as knowledge, is to upload it directly to a SharePoint document library and take advantage of that SharePoint semantic index. So your question's very multifaceted, and I think that it's important to, I don't think that they're putting SharePoint in the corner. I think if anything, SharePoint's trying to outpace Dataverse, right? The SharePoint team's definitely trying to outpace the Dataverse team, but so those two are battling the AI storage systems. And I think that, you, me, everyone listening to this, we're going to be the winners as those two continue to navigate. So I'm not worried about SharePoint getting lost in this move to AI is really the short answer to my very long answer to your very difficult question.
I hope so too. So, Isabel, Porto, any other questions regarding to segment, or should we move to the next?
Let's see. It's like, where would AI Builder fit in this? Like text, images, predictive models. It feels like the toolbox expanding rapidly, where AI Builder, you can put in Power Automate, and Power Automate can do AI Builder, and then Power Automate can do Copilot Studio. How do you think that tool will expand in a Power Platform?
Yeah, AI Builder is probably my favorite piece of tech right now, because as you just mentioned, right? So AI Builder and really when I think about AI Builder, really there's kind of two pieces to the AI Hub and Power Apps, right? There's the traditional AI models, which have been there since, 2019. And then they added the AI prompts piece, which is rolled out, and that's built on top of the large language model, OpenAI. I think right now it defaults to 4.1, but 5 is in there as well. I think that's probably one of the most key pieces of tech that people are sleeping on right now, because the ability to integrate with prompts works with Power Apps, Power Automate, and Copilot Studio. Learning that it can, yes, take your text and fix it up or extract information, but it can also analyze images. It can analyze documents. It can generate images. It can generate documents. It can output stuff as text. It can output stuff as JSON. It can output stuff as actual documents. That tool is really the Swiss Army knife of building AI-driven solutions on Power Apps, Power Automate, and Copilot Studio. but a lot of people are just sleeping on. So yeah, if you've not played with AI prompts, I would definitely encourage you to dive into those and really explore what they can do. Because another thing, I talked about this in my session last week, people are struggling. Okay, my first AI idea is as big as this room. And that's just too big, right? Like what I challenge my audience there to do is like, go back, find a app or a workflow that you can add just a sprinkle of AI, right? Maybe add an AI prompt to fix up their text, or an AI prompt to get an image description, or to analyze some content for you. And just a sprinkle of AI into something that works today, and make that your first AI win to get people going, wow, all right, this AI stuff works. What should I do next? And then you get to the things that are bigger and bigger and bigger. But everyone wants to start here. Start here.
I agree. I agree completely. Is there anything else? Sorry,
And
go
a
ahead.
small hint from this week. I saw that in Power Automate Premium, you get now 5,000 AI Builder credits. This is 10 times more than with Power Apps Premium. That's what I saw this today. And with 5,000 credits, I think you can do a lot. It's only one license, yeah. This is really good and important to know.
Yeah, the credit story is evolving right now too, right? Like we've got AI Builder credits, we've got Copilot credits. Microsoft announced a few weeks ago that they're going to rework that whole system. So I'll be curious how that all shuffles out. Because at the end of the day, Microsoft's got to figure out how to pay for all those GPUs that are doing all this fun stuff, and it'll be interesting.
Yeah, a lot of my clients would ask me, how many credits have I used per run? I'm like, I don't know. It used something, but I can't tell you this flow took 3 credits per run.
So can I teach you all a trick real quick?
Yeah, teach us.
So if you go into make.powerautomate.com, right, and then if you go over on the left into more and then discover all, which kind of just lets you find all the tabs, you scroll to the bottom of that screen underneath the monitor section, there is AI Builder activity. And with that AI Builder activity, you can see every individual flow run, AI prompt, app run, every one, and how many credits it used and what it did. So that they have this great dashboard. They just haven't put anyone that they've hidden it there. So go click through, find that AI Builder activity one on that screen, and it is a real game changer for getting some insight into what the heck is going on.
Yeah, that would be.
As a former colleague once told me or said to me, Forto, you need to use your toys, explore them. That's basically it.
I'm sorry, who's Forto? I don't know who that is. You mean
Me,
Fortunado?
Fortunado.
You know who that guy is.
It's good. It's wonderful that you are pointing this out on a regular basis. I think we are getting friends. So it's okay. Awesome. Great.
Okay, let us move to the next segment. Power Automate and AI. I think Power Automate has leveled up with AI, Copilot flow creation and optimization. What is the biggest benefit for the developers? What do you think?
For me, so I'm not I'm not going to like make.powerautomate.com and then using like their little Copilot wizard to generate a lot of flows. Now, I mean, I have the advantage that I've been building flows for, 7 years now. So for me, it's pretty intuitive. So I definitely see how that can help entry-level people kind of get started. But when I think about ways that it helps me, there's probably 2 answers. One is that there's a lot of complexity as you start to build flows. Like there's OData queries or JSON formatting or, that type of stuff. And let's just be honest, right? Like no human is very good at writing OData queries. Like it's not natural. You know what? Large language models are great at that, right? So jump over to Copilot chat or the Copilot running in your Power Automate, or go to ChatGPT, Gemini, wherever you want to go, and say, hey, here's my column name. Here's the value I'm looking for. Help me write a OData query. Help me update this HTML. Help me figure out what's wrong with this JSON. They are really good at that. So that's one of the biggest leverages that I am seeing in that space. Secondly, if you do load the little Copilot on the right-hand side of Power Automate, and like your flow has an error, I would say 50% of the time, like whatever error I have, it just says, oh, you got this error. I'm pretty sure this is what's wrong. And I think 50% of the time it gets it well. So that's, I think, the biggest advantage is not really creating the flows, but helping me refine the flows or troubleshoot the flows.
Okay. Yeah, and one thing I like to do for documentation is summarize what this flow does. And it will tell you exactly what it does. And I can even say it in 3 sentences or something else or more when I'm writing documentation. Another thing that's really helpful, add it in a description of the workflow. So that's very helpful in my use case.
Always, right? Because we should all do more documentation. We all hate doing documentation. AI, if we can do it, let's get those quick wins.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on to intelligent data extraction. This is kind of like similar to AI Builder, but what are your use cases for documents, emails, PDF? What have you done so far?
Yeah, so the document extraction stuff has been there since 2019 in some capacity. And so, we've seen a lot of customers, especially the medium to larger ones. I mean, they just get inundated with invoices and things like that. And so using these different tools to be like, hey, how about we let AI extract this information out? How about we give it the expense receipts and let it check to see does all this, line up with the expense report that's being done? AI is really good at that type of stuff. And it used to be that we're always thinking, okay, I've probably got to go train this thing and really jump through some hoops. And for the most part, it just works. We had a customer 2 months ago. He was trying to have it basically, not to review resumes as they came in, right? Like he's not using it to make decisions, but it's just to kind of review resumes, extract key data points so that a human can do it, right? We're not trying to replace the human, but we're trying to cut down on the amount of time that they need to go and extract data. And he had all these crazy ideas about trying to train custom models around resumes. We're like, man, slow down, right? Take the resume, hand it to an AI prompt and say, hey, here's a resume. Here's what I want to know from the resume. See what happens. It just worked, right? Like there was no weird, crazy training. Like sometimes you've got to go play with your toys that are in the toy box and don't start overcomplicated. Just start with a simple, here's my data. Can you do the thing I want?
And that's a wonderful example for a mini task that people can use and leverage AI for. Because people we have this term to Google something because we adapted to on how we search and think. But AI is a different approach. You can think about in solutions. You can leave up the problems to other people. You can focus on your solutions. And this is something where I say it can leverage for a video editor. Using AI to do some transitions or to extend some scenes is a good approach for people to remove backgrounds. So those are the small tasks that you mentioned, and getting information out of a YouTube video, for example, could be a way to leverage AI or from a document to sum things up. And those are wonderful examples for small little tasks where AI can actually provide real value directly. But something that I want to say is, and it's good that it hits me. What about approvals and decision making? AI is helping to streamline governance workflows too, correct?
Yeah, and so the way that I always try to kind of broach this whole idea of, letting AI just take over and do it all, right, is the thing that I really harp on my students, my customers with is, at this point in AI's life cycle, we still want to keep a human in the loop, right? And so, for example, one of my favorite autonomous agents is, we build I have a triage incident, right? So you go in, you fill out an incident report. I fell down and scraped my knee, right? And you kind of give it all the details. You take some pictures, and then you throw that. We submit that, and then the agent basically goes in and triages that and says, okay, he scraped his knee, no one cares, right? Or, he was in a car wreck, we probably should look into this more. But a lot of times people get, all right, well then let's just let the AI decide. And it's like, no, right? On this, where we're at today, it is let the AI make its determination, but then provide that to the same human that would have made that determination ahead of time or previously, right? And so the idea is then that human looks at it and says, oh, yeah, they got it right. Okay, go. Or no, every time somebody scrapes their knee, right, it gets it wrong. And so then they go back and they change the knowledge, they change the agent to better understand knee scrapes. And the idea is by keeping the human in the loop, all right, they build up trust, and maybe in the beginning, 75% of the ones, they have to change the answer from the AI. But through refining, right, we get better, better, better. One day they call you up and like, hey, this thing's been right for like 3 weeks straight. I haven't changed a thing. Maybe then we're ready to remove the human from the loop. But that then brings in the trust, right? That brings in the validation. Everyone feels a lot better because the expert, she was involved in getting this thing refined. She's the one that raised her hand and said, you know what, I'm just rubber stamping these now. And so you're getting that buy-in instead of just being like, nope, today, we're replacing Susie with this agent. And if it gets them wrong, well, too bad. So a human in the loop is one of the most important parts of this, as you start looking at decision making.
Actually, this happened in the past, to before AI was a big thing, with a huge printing company. I don't want to say the name here to risk anything, but they basically used AI to replace some parts in the graphics and also numbers and such. And then everything came out that basically by using this tech, numbers were replaced that actually were replaced in a wrong way. And it was the human in the loop that basically found out that the numbers should be ordered in a specific way. And they found out that the 6 became an 8 and vice versa. So it's always good to calibrate and to recheck and do this check and to have the human in the loop, because error can happen. Can also happen with humans. We know this from other tech as well. So it's good to control each and with other. Okay.
Yeah, I think before we go to the next segment, there's one missing point for Power Automate, and this is a new expression builder. And I know it could be a little bit hard to build expressions in Power Automate because the syntax is not really easy to understand regarding to the naming conventions and so on in Power Automate. What do you think about this tool?
So Marcel, you caught me. I have not used it. I have not. I've not tried that one. Right, as you guys all know, there's so much AI stuff happening every 5 seconds of our lives, and I've not tried that one. I look forward to it because you are absolutely right. The Power Automate expressions are really difficult to create, but yeah, I'm certain that AI is better at it than I am, but I've not tried that one yet. Have you? What do you think of it?
Yes, I've tried, and I think it's so if you have expression where you have more than two, more than 1 or 2 or 3, I think that helps a lot. I think the expression builder delivers really good results, and yeah, I use it in my daily routines. Really good. So when we can go to segment 3, and this is cross-platform AI synergies. So we talk about AI, but I think the most interesting part from the I would say from the inside was everything has changed regarding to the creation of apps. We have talked about generative pages, and where it was, I think, a major change regarding to M365 Copilot, and this was the apps frontier and the workflow frontier. What do you think about these 2 agents?
Yeah, right. Like that. Once again, the world changes very quickly, and so to your point, like if all of you don't know, within the last couple months, some of the last week, Microsoft has, we've added generative pages inside of model-driven apps where you use your words to generate what we used to think of like as a custom page. But what's really interesting about that is that entire page is written in React. Right? So it's not written in the traditional model-driven or Canvas interface. It's written in React, but then it is published into the Power Apps framework, the same way that code gen apps are done, right? Which are also can be built in Visual Studio now. So yeah, so we got generative pages making React. If you jump over to M365 Copilot, there's now been announced a app builder agent. And that app builder agent, you use words, you vibe code out an app, and it creates a Power App in the Power Apps framework. But that is also a React app. It is not Canvas. And then there is a workflows agent, also in the M365 space. And that workflows agent, you can feel its Power Automate background, but you cannot, but it's not building a traditional Power Automate cloud flow in the sense that we're used to the canvas and dragging things around and interfacing. You just use your words and you vibe code a workflow. So yeah, this is a big change. You know, and I think you're going to continue to see this. You know, there's more and more third parties out there building these vibe coding app tools, and Microsoft has decided that one of the ways that they're going to keep up with that industry trend is to leverage some of their low code, no code stuff from Power Apps, Power Automate, and turn that into tools to build these. The fact that it's building in React is very interesting. Like today, we're not really editing the React code. I mean, if you didn't know, React is just another programming language, right? Like it's not a language we've ever seen before, or I mean, that we've never had in Power Apps or Power Automate before. It's not it's existed for years, but that language in the apps being built on, yeah, it is a change. And where this goes, I don't know that I know the answer to that, Marcel. It's very interesting.
So you're saying people can prompt it and then they'll create apps for you, but the code is in React, as in when they were to edit it in the back end, or can they edit it in the back end after that?
Nope. You would just use your words to edit the app, right? And those apps and the apps agent and the workflows agent specifically, right? So you have to have the M365 Copilot license to use them. So they have nothing to do with Power Apps or Power Automate licensing. But yeah, both of them are just edited with your words. They're meant to be personal productivity apps, right? They're not meant to be the big gnarly projects we build here at Power Apps 911 that take weeks and months and years, right? Like it's meant to be the replacement for the Excel spreadsheet driven apps that we have today.
Yeah, I think that is really good until somebody leaves the company and was like, "Oh crap, this system of 3 people, one is gone and their account is deactivated. How the heck do we get it back?"
Yeah, like, and that will be interesting, right? Like if you build it and then you win the lottery and go retire to a beach and then delete your account out of spite, like I don't think that these exist in your account. Like I think it'll still be there. I think the people you've shared it with will still have access.
Okay.
But then like how we regather, take over control so we can keep editing it ourselves, like that part of the story, I don't know, or I don't know if it's baked yet. But because both of those I mentioned, both those agents, they're both still frontier. Which when you see frontier, think like just barely working software. Like it's Microsoft getting it out in front of you early. But the intention is you should not be building building production software with that quite today. So hopefully a lot of those things are ironed out before anyone builds anything production on those.
That's good. So with data, we're talking about Dataverse again. With Dataverse in backend, how can organizations connect business data with AI insights, but without compromising their security?
That's a fun one. It's a mouthful. So with that one, I would say that Dataverse security has always been hard. But hopefully, if you have invested in Dataverse as your primary storage back end, that you have someone on the team that is managing that, and so hopefully, you already have an answer to that question if you're asking that question, right? You're like, oh, this is how we manage Dataverse today, and that same those same answers should move forward because everything that they're doing with Dataverse, with like these new apps building Dataverse tables and stuff, it's still doing it the right way. It's not just kind of injecting some data. It's putting it in there. It's setting up the roles. It's making sure that you have the right permissions to do it. And then you've got to share it at a Dataverse level. So hopefully a lot like we talked about, we don't need to talk about data models as much. hopefully my end users are not having to talk about Dataverse roles and such. The platforms are managing that for them in tune with the people that are already in charge of governing and securing your Dataverse. Like hopefully between the governance, the security teams and the apps interfaces, like me, the end user, isn't thinking about Dataverse security at all. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing that I'm not having to think about it.
But with all the questions about compliance, security, governance, responsible AI, what should leaders in general keep in mind when they roll things like that out?
Yeah, it's evolving fast. I don't know that I have a perfect answer to this. Like we're getting a lot of these, right? It's kind of people fall into two spectrums. Either like I'm just going to start making apps and it'll be fine, or I'm going to turn all this off until I figure out how to govern it. And there's probably a happy middle in there, but it's all coming at us so fast. I don't know that there is an answer at this moment that I could give you. Like personally, I would like to see all of this stuff that we're generating now just be exposed to the COE toolkits, right? Because I feel like that's, for the last few years, that's been the correct answer from a Canvas app, Power Automate, Cloudflow type of, challenges. But if these are not showing up there, and I haven't looked, right? But if I assume they're not showing up there the same way, like I think that would be the first best answer, right? Like just give me the ability to at least see what the heck's happening. And then hopefully if you are a security forward type of company, right? You already have the good DLP policies out there. So, it's hard, or so people can't be exfiltrating your data and things like that, on accident in theory. But it will be a challenge over the next year.
Really good. Let us come. Yeah, I think so too. So governance has ever been a great topic, and we had a meeting here with or a show with Simon Owen and Michael Road, and it was really good to know what we can do in the Power Platform regarding to governance, and it's a big point, and will be a big point in the future too. And I saw that a lot of topics are a go-to the admin center, but it takes time. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time from Microsoft side. But now let us come back to the real world use cases. So if we, let us make it concrete. So if we automatic repetitive admin tasks with AI, what are some scenarios where you see that actually working?
I think for a lot of people today, it's the processing, right? So whether, like we talk about, the person ingesting resumes to extract data, or having it review contracts and pulling out key sections, or like probably the first use case we really saw real world was this idea. So like we had a customer and they do home healthcare visits. So the technician or nurse or whomever wakes up on the morning, right? It's like, all right, you gotta go see these 5 people in their home today. And so it would say, like, go to this home and take their blood pressure, right? Just to keep it super simple. And so they would take their blood pressure, they'd record it, and then the note would basically said, done, right? And then they'd move to the next one. Well, the challenge they were having was to facilitate and to automate as much as possible. They really wanted to be able to, generate a real report from that, but they couldn't just send back, measure Bobby's blood pressure, blah, 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 blah. And the technician said done, right? Like that's not valid. And so then a human would have to go in and write a nice update on what the technician or nurse did. So what we did was we said, okay, we want to augment this with AI. And so we said, okay, hey, large language model, here's the task. Here's the outcome, or here's what the technician said. And then we even said, and here's the technician's personality. Here's their style of writing, right? Mm-hmm. We feed all that into the large language model. And so then it turns in done into, it was great seeing Bobby today. I checked his blood pressure. It was blah, 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 blah. Everything looks great. I'll see him again in a month, right? Like AI was able to do all of that for us and return that in a really meaningful way. And so those are, when I talk about sprinkling AI, like that one seems really trivial, but that was saving hours of work every week of people typing out more robust things, and it was creating better end products for the consumer of the reports and the data after the fact. So that's the type of stuff when I think about real world. Like, let's not think about how we build. Once again, don't build this thing that's bigger than my arms, bigger than this room. You'll get little wins like that. That's where you should be at with the real world today.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that also makes the data more qualifiable. So instead of quantify of how many numbers, but also the quality of it. And with that, with customer service is also a big one, like client facing stuff. I'm always hesitant to do something client facing, especially in the Power Platform side. I am afraid that they would ask the wrong questions. I don't know who are all the use cases. People can type weird stuff and will output the wrong things. With like AI driven workflows can deflect tickets, suggest us responses, and even escalate intelligently. Have you seen this from your clients? They're asking for front facing stuff using AI.
I don't want to say no, but off the top of my head, nothing other than the example I just gave you. I'm not seeing a lot of customer facing quite yet, right? Like I have people that have ideas, but nothing rolling out. What we're seeing back of house is always safer to start with, right? So we're seeing lots of that type of stuff. I don't know that I have any forward-thinking ones or that. The other thing that I try to stress to customers when they come to me, like, what should we do? Which is a very loaded question. Just give me lots of money. That's what you should do. What we try to stress with them is, there's been studies already that like the most success people are seeing with AI is instead of trying to think of big and grandiose, which I keep trying to steer away from, it's like, hey, what are things that you don't enjoy? And so, for example, maybe extracting that resume data, right? They didn't enjoy that. So that's a great win. And it's a low risk win, right? Extracting data from invoices. That's another one we probably set up for the first time like 4 years ago. So when an invoice would come in, where we would have AI extract the info, we'd have a human extract the info. Okay, it used to be 2 humans doing it. Now we have AI doing it once, a human doing it once, and then we're able to marry that data. So I know it's not your question. Your question was client facing, but not seeing a lot of that yet. We've seen some big mistakes in the client facing, right? The airline that gave away, thousands of dollars of discounts or whatever, right? Like, so a lot of people were saying, hey, let's do the back end and let's keep a human in the loop to make sure that we, are validating as we go.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is a lot of low risk wins. For example, Kaiser Permanente, I'm asking for something, but they'll give you information instead of doing transactions or making appointments, which you could. But having the low risk win is what I got from your example. So I think that's really cool.
And just remember, like the win is most important, right? Like if you roll out something that's giant and it only works half the time, the AI naysayers, which there's still a lot in the world, right? Like that's just things from the point. I'd be like, AI sucks, it's dumb, boo. So we roll out small, it works consistently. We start to build that trust and we build bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? It's a journey. We don't have to get AI, we don't have to be an AI 100% company tomorrow. So stop thinking that way and just go get some little controlled, repeatable, I don't want to say perfect, but highly reliable wins.
Talking about building, in your opinion, when it comes to app prototyping, development in general, is AI, in your opinion, accelerating all the stuff, or is this some kind of hype?
With everything AI, there's definitely some hype, but I do think that it is accelerating for people that are using it right. So, for example, like we talked about plans inside of Power Automate, right? So you're going to make that powerautomate.com. You can use the plan tool to, suss out your business requirements, design a data model, and even spit out some real simplified apps, right? And so obviously for the complicated stuff that I build for my customers, I'm never going to use it to spit out the apps, but it is helping us on the standpoint of we're taking the customer requirements, we can put it in there, and it's just another architect's opinion on what are the roles, what are the things going on, what should the data model look like, and maybe I use all of it, maybe I use none of it, but it's at least it's another opinion in there, which is helping me. If I think that the app should look like this or the data model should look like this, and the AI says it should look like that, I feel like that's pretty smart, right? Again, good job, Shane. Whereas if I said it looked like this and the AI model is like, hey, it's this, and I'm like, those have nothing to do with each other, then I probably need to think a little harder and and maybe pull in another human, right? But I need to work there. So I do think that there's a lot of that type of stuff that it is helping. Prototyping might be a step further than I would think, but at least it's helping me suss out requirements. It's helping me validate what I'm planning. And I think a lot of that has a lot of tremendous value. And a lot of people aren't using it that way today because they're like, AI is dumb. It makes a dumb app. Yeah, but the first two pieces, super helpful, that tool. So it's free. Why don't you use it?
Yeah, that's awesome. I think
Little
we're at
bit like
the
a trend, I would say. It's a little bit like a trend. So if Copilot Studio started, only a few people posted new stuff about it, and now nearly every MVP in the Power Platform has Copilot Studio topics and M365 Copilot 2, and now everyone every day I see. I think 10 posts regarding to agents, and so I think it's a little bit of a hype, I would say.
But so we haven't talked much about Copilot Studio, which is probably my bad, right? I should have brought it up sooner. But I think Copilot Studio is the sleeping giant, right? Like it's Power Apps and Power Automate people. The good news is you already know like 75% of Copilot Studio, right? Like
I agree.
Power FX, it uses adaptive cards, it uses the Power Apps and Power Automate connectors, it uses connects to Flow. Like so much of that tool you already know, which is super helpful. And as I think about what you and me, right, the people that build apps and flows are going to do sooner than later, is the demand for agents is through the roof right now, right? Like the world needs another billion agents or something, And those of us who've already got this low code, no code skill set, applying that to building low code, no code agents in Copilot Studio is going to be a major path forward for us. And I think that's really important. And I'll give you a little behind the scenes. So as you guys know, I do consulting and training. I personally mostly do the training side. In this week alone, I have taught 2 different groups of private Copilot Studio class, and I've had 3 more calls about new. We are just the demand for Copilot Studio training right now is everyone's kind of real quiet about it. It's not publicly out there, but I can tell you that is blowing me up. It's all I do over here is teach Copilot Studio training right now, and so there's a decent amount of people out there that are kind of getting the light bulb going on that I should probably invest in this thing because it's coming fast too.
Yeah, I agree. Even my company start offering training for Copilot Studio, and a lot of consultants we sleep on Copilot Studio, and now because of ChatGPT, the whole society have become prompt based. Now they just want to do everything prompt based. One thing I told my clients is that AI is really cool, really awesome, but does it need to be a prompt based for every business process? I always ask them that. I'm like, I don't think this needs to be a Copilot Studio. I don't know why are we investing time in Copilot Studio when it could just be automated without, sure, if you want that user experience asking questions, yes, go ahead and use it. But if you don't really need it, we don't have to do everything with AI if we don't need to or you want to.
I think at the moment, AI is basically blamed for everything that is going wrong in the tech industry at the moment, whether it's mass layoffs or especially the gaming industry, which is one of my specialties or special camps where I'm resigning at the moment. And I'm seeing huge things that are changing, and companies are enforcing actually to use AI, but really not knowing on how to use AI. And this causes a lot of troubles at the moment because also the developers need to adapt to this new tech to leverage. This is another tool in your tool set, and you need to use it, and you cannot enforce it overnight. And this is causing huge troubles at the moment. And this is an example where AI is used in a bad way because the people that are decision makers are not really understanding on how to use it. They are just jumping on the hype. But this is my opinion here. I don't know how you think.
No, I definitely agree, right? Like we've got right. And one of the challenges with the whole platform is it changes so fast, right? Every time I teach a class, there's something new that I've never seen before. And so it's easy to discount it, like, oh, well, I'll come back when it's stable. It might not ever be stable. Like embrace this thing, stable is the wrong word, but you know what I mean? Like it's never going to be the same week in, week out. And I think that that's important to note is like you got to embrace, right? Like you said earlier, right? Like I got to play with all the tools in my toolbox or all my toys. So I got to play with all the toys in my toy box and make sure that I am in there for it. So, you know, I'm there.
Do you have anything else to say before we have closing questions?
No, I am good.
Okay. Shane, this is very fantastic.
We're running out of time. I think this was so cool. But so Mirko, do we have some questions for Shane?
Was Shane pouring a bottle of Jack Daniels there? I mean, I'd like to say it was, but no, it's just some tea. I mean, what's in the tea? You didn't ask, so I don't have to answer. But this is not Jack Daniels.
Awesome.
Oh.
Organizations with Power Apps and legacy systems. Okay.
So the question is Microsoft focusing on connectors that convert legacy workflows to AI-powered flows. I mean, I can't speak for them, but nothing that I've seen, right? Like I don't imagine a world where, you know, you just go in and press a button and all your flows become AI powered. You know, I would imagine that it's going to be this is an opportunity for you to say, okay, what are the workflows that we have? Where can we either add AI into the flow to get better results, or how can we reimagine this solution now that we have AI tools? Because a lot of them, you know, if you think about like your typical data extraction flow that we've had for the last few years, it is very tedious and manual and has a lot of complex steps. You're never going to be like, AI, translate this, right? But you could look at it as a human and say, hey, those 27 steps we did to parse out all that data, that's just one AI prompt now, right? I expect a human to be in the loop to do that type of stuff, not just to press a button and have that happen.
Okay.
Do you think Microsoft's going to continue with Power Automate, or will Copilot Studio be merged with Power Automate? So I get this question a lot. Like people kind of, you know, we finish Copilot Studio, they're like, well, why wouldn't Flow just go away? They have flows over in in Copilot Studio now. I don't know. Maybe I'm a half full on the glass type of guy, but I don't ever sit there and go, oh, I think Flow's going away tomorrow. I maybe nothing's forever, but I am not in my immediate term have any thoughts in my brain that they're going to get rid of Power Automate Cloud Flows in any way. If nothing, if anything, I continue to see them invest because it's such a key point in how things happen in Copilot Studio. It's a great way to do simple ingestions and, you know, interact with AI prompts like we talked about earlier. I am maybe I'm wrong, but every time I get asked this, I'm like, no, Power Automate's not going anywhere.
I agree.
Will be Code Apps feature. Okay.
Yeah, will the Code Apps feature or something similar be available for creating Canvas apps? Yes, right. So that, you know, so two things, right? You can go look at the app builder agent that is in M365 Copilot today to kind of get a flavor. Remember that somebody named Shane made a YouTube video that shows you how that all works last Monday. So you go watch, or sometime last week, go check that out. Shameless plug. Secondly, at the conference last week, they also announced that the Power Automate Plan tool will start to generate code-first apps as well. So yes is the answer to your question there. And there's lots of stuff you'll be able to see. Or there's stuff you can see today already, kind of start to figure that out. And it's like Marcel had mentioned, generative pages, right? Like that should give you an idea of as well, like where their head's at.
Okay. I think this was the last question, right? No, this is the last question. In the future Power Platform, will AI replace developers or empower them?
I am pro empower them. I think that it's just making all of us better, faster, stronger at building stuff. But I am not in the foreseeable future, right? I do not think that we're just gonna be like, oh, AI just magically does all of this for me. And even if you start to think about that, like, you know, even if you said, okay, well, like I talk about the app builder agent. I just use words and it becomes an app. And why isn't that a developer being replaced? But somebody's got to put the words in. Someone's got to think this through. And those are, once again, entry-level personal productivity apps. It's not building a, you know, multifaceted CRM system that, you know, like you're still got the requirements gathering. I don't know. I am not buying the AI is taking all of our jobs. You know, I always like the line, you know, AI is not going to take my job, but someone using AI might, right? So you should be the person using AI. I know that that's become cliche at this point, but I do buy that story. I don't buy AI is just going to make it so I can sit on the beach all day.
Well, there are companies that actually tried, but it backfired horribly because they have not understood what AI basically is. But yeah, like always, the new tool, people you overhype it, and then they have to backpedal. But that's another problem. Great. I think this was now the last question, right? Right?
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe. Okay. Great. I think we are at the end, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, Shane, thank you so much for joining us. For our audience, we'll drop links to Shane's YouTube, blog, and resources and show notes. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time on the M365 Show.
And before you leave, so our next show will be the 20th of November with Fortu, with Script Runner and Reshaping Outglow. I think really cool part, PowerShell versus Script Runner. And we have planned shows on 4th of December with Ben Fettes and on 18th of December with and I think really cool shows are coming. And we started with a German show on the 25th of November with Marcel Lehmann. And Marcel Lehmann said to you, you have changed his life. And I will end with this. And he was, I know he said you was crying. I said, yeah, it told us in our German podcast. And I think it was one of famous moments in the podcast, podcast and so. Thank you for your work. I think it's amazing.
Exactly.
You have changed a lot of life, and thank you to be guest in our show.
Thank you very much. Also from my side, you also changed mine to some extent. Thank you very much, Shane. I wanted to sing here Forever Young, but I said no.
I think you have changed a lot of people's lives.
Call it revenge. So it's
Awesome. Well, yeah, you guys, thank you. This was a lot of fun. I love to talk about this, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Roll the song, Dobby.
Microsoft 365 is moving faster than ever. Copilot, Power Platform, security, modern work. Every week brings something new, but events are scattered, expensive, and not everyone can join. That's why we created M365 Con, the world's largest community-powered online conference. 2 weeks. Week 1, workshops you can book individually. Week 2, talks, panels, and keynotes completely free for everyone. Through Kickstarter, we fund the platform, organization, and speakers. Together, we make sure knowledge stays free. Your pledge makes M365 Con possible. Support starts at just €5. Get your supporter badge. For 15, share an exclusive founding supporter graphic. With €20, you unlock access to all talks, over 60 sessions, recordings, and materials. Choose the learning path that fits you best. Workshop Starter, Flex, Power, XL, or XXL. From one hands-on workshop to unlimited access. Plus, sponsor workshops, certificates, and even Q&As with Microsoft Most Valuable Professionals. Companies can join too, from starter packages with workshop tickets to premium booths, keynote and track sponsorships, or even main sponsors with exclusive visibility and speaker slots. And the more we raise, the more we unlock. Exclusive Teams backgrounds, extra Q&A sessions, on-demand libraries, a virtual expo, entertainment acts, and even regional conferences worldwide, in Arabic, Spanish, Portuguese, and more. M365 Con, by the community, for the community. Back us today on Kickstarter, secure your tickets, and help build the largest Microsoft 365 online conference.